All right, let's see how fast this 315 moves. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it 100 with you guys. I can't bench press 405 at all at the moment, right? That's just being real with my audience. Yes, I've bench pressed 405 multiple times in the past, but that's not something I can do as of right now. But in today's video, I'm sharing my insights on how I plan on not only getting back to a 405 bench, but hopefully surpassing that. But before we get into today's video, I would like to go ahead and go over my workout program. This is the program that helped me get to a 405 bench naturally. It's designed especially for strength training and hypertrophy. And the coolest part, it's only $5, less than a Big Mac, but more fulfilling. All right, back to today's video. So without wasting your time any further, let's get straight into today's video. So I've made multiple videos talking about the accessories or the exercises that will complement your bench and help increase that, over the long term. But for right now, we're not going to be talking about any of that. The biggest thing that I am looking at to increase my bench, and not only increase it, but to improve it long term, is learning how to actually properly bench press. And that's one of the things that not only do I suffer from, but multiple people as well. I mean, how many times have you just got under the rack and just really press it off your chest, right? You think that's all it is to bench pressing, and not really. That's not the case. And that's what I've done for 2 years of my bench pressing journey as well, is just get under the rack, unrack it and press it off my chest. It's actually a lot more complex than that. And in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you what I'm doing differently. So one of the biggest things that I've noticed that I was not doing at all was first leg drive, right? Leg drive is one of the biggest things that's gonna help improve your bench. And that's something I still have yet to master. It's just something I don't know how to do properly, right? There's so many other cues to do leg drive, but as someone who's 6'4", leg drive just feels very, unorthodox. But that is something I am trying to implement. And number two is just pretty much one of the biggest cues that will be helping me, because that's something I could actually probably, learn how to do rather quickly, is squeezing your shoulder blades and then depressing your shoulder blades at the same time. And why this is very helpful is it pretty much forces your body to create a natural arc. And the cool thing about creating a natural arc, right? Your chest is more closer to the bar, which is shortening your range of motion, and you're incorporating a lot of more like lat activation, and you're also getting your shoulders out of a compromised position, right? As a bench presser, and you can relate to this, what's the biggest muscle group that really gets irritated when bench pressing, especially when done incorrectly? Your shoulders. I mean, the biggest meme, especially in 2023, was, oh, I can't wait for chest day, but then your shoulder starts hurting, right? I'm pretty sure everyone can go ahead and relate to that. But I want to show you how I was warming up to my top set while implementing this new workout, or this new strategy, right? My new form, my new improved form, right? And I'll show you that right here. So I decided to record up my whole warm-up set because I wanted to see what my form looked like and if it held up. So here's 135, and you can see me trying to really implement that natural arc by having my shoulder blades squeeze together and depress at the same time. And my legs are less than 90 degrees. And here we are at 185, again, trying to implement the same form, trying to make it stay consistent, because again, one of the biggest cues is you want your form to look the same throughout your whole entire setup, right? 225 looks pretty identical from the last 2 warm-up sets. And I'm only doing about 3 reps for that. Again, trying to conserve as much energy as possible. And here's 275. Anything above, or anything 275 and up, we're only doing 1 rep. Right, here's 315. Look pretty good, right? Not as fast as usual, but not too bad. Next is 335. 335 always trips me up for some reason, all right? But it looked pretty decent. And next, here's 365. Really trying to squeeze the shoulder blades and depress the shoulder blades at the same time. And you see me less than a 90-degree angle with my legs. Not too bad, could have been faster, but my ass stayed on the bench. And here is 375. I'm really trying to stay tight. And my ass came off the bench a little bit. Sucks. So your boy worked all the way up to 375. Obviously the strength is there. It's just the technique that really needs to be dialed in. Obviously the 375, you can see my ass did come off the bench. It obviously wasn't as bad as my 385 the other day. Count. Right? Still not perfect. There's a lot more to iron out, right? I have a lot more to do. Obviously, this is my first time actually learning how to properly bench press. and it was weird. It was very weird. It was showing, right? It was off-putting to me, really trying to squeeze the shoulder blades and depress them at the same time. Obviously, I was naturally creating that arc, but it was the part where I was supposed to kind of keep that tension, right? That was probably my biggest problem, was trying to keep that amount of tension with, you know, implementing that arc. It just felt weird. It was off-putting. This is my first time actually trying to do that. Another thing that I was also struggling with was my leg drive, right? One of the biggest cues that most people say to get that leg drive was to either make a 90-degree with your legs or less, preferably less, to really, you know, incorporate the leg drive, to force your body, like that exertion, to go towards your chest area and to help you pretty much pick up a lot more weight than you normally can. And that was something that I was struggling to do. I don't feel like the power was, you know, carrying over really well. It just felt weird and off-putting to me. But again, this is something I'm new to, right? This is something I haven't done in a while. So to get good at things, you have to do it a lot. And it's funny too, because it's funny how I'm doing this not only with my bench press, but with my deadlift, where I'm just going back to basics. And that's really what a lot of people need to do, is kind of strip off the weight, stop ego lifting, and learn how to properly bench press, right? So I got all the way up to 375, and I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and test it out with 315 again, right? You can see me doing that right here. Obviously 315 flew. As someone who can bench press 405, 315 better, you know, look pretty light. But even then, that 315, it felt weird, right? Trying to get into the position, trying to keep myself tight, pause, really trying to wedge in and not like bleed any power. It still felt really off-putting. But one thing I do want to notice and want to highlight was the fact that my shoulders actually felt pretty good. Because again, like I said earlier, when you are squeezing your shoulder blades and depressing them at the same time before you unrack the weight, your shoulders are no longer in a compromised position. And it felt pretty good. I had no shoulder impingement, no shoulder pain or anything like that. But then again, you know, that was just 2 hours after me bench pressing. Time will tell, right? Usually it happens 2 days after, but we're gonna see. I have overhead press tomorrow too, so I'll really know. But again, for me to actually get good at this is something I need to do consistently. And one of the biggest things I've also heard too was you want to do this starting from, you know, just the bar, right? You want your form to look the same throughout the entire lift. And that is something that I 100% wholeheartedly agree on, and something that should be pretty much your whole foundation, right? If you want to do something properly, it needs to look the same throughout the entire lift. Obviously, you know, with deadlifts that can change, because the heavier the weight, right, your back, your upper back especially, is going to round a little bit. That's just how it works. But with bench press, it should actually look the same throughout the entire lift, right? Because you're in a stationary position, right? You're pretty much pinned up against a bench. Nothing should look different necessarily. Obviously, the weight might not move as fast, but your form should look pretty much identical when you were doing it with just the bar. So I'm excited to see what happens after I implement this and I do this consistently. Another cool thing is I'm going back to only doing 5 days. You should see your workout program update as well, because I'm just gonna go ahead and take the 6th day off. That 6th day was just me doing a lot of the second arm day, right? Close grip bench and stuff like that. But that was kind of eating at my recovery and how I, you know, recovered, right? Because I'm back to strength training. So I'm gonna need that additional day for just rest. So my CNS isn't taxed, and, you know, I'm under like 225, and I'm asking myself, why does this feel so much heavier than usual, right? Rest day is very important, which is another factor that I'm putting into increasing my bench press and hopefully going past 405. But that's today's video. It's just me kind of going over my form and just going back down to basics, right? Lowering the weight, learning how to actually bench press properly. But that's today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know, do you know how to bench press properly? How long have you been bench pressing, and how long have you been bench pressing and not knowing you had been bench pressing improperly? So, you know, leave that down in the comment section below. And I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I already said that, but yeah, appreciate y'all.